Okay, so I'm gonna take you through a closed kinetic chain workout, meaning my feet are closed to the floor versus open. That would be open kinetic chain. This is not something that's like totally innovative and brand new. This should be a simple guided way for, let's see, it's taken me about 4 months to allow my spine to handle loading like this. And I really encourage you to look up load through the spine when you move from a laying down position to a seated position into a standing position. Um, Google that, check it out. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to have you do it because it is going to stick in your head for forever. So that being said, when you're standing, there's 100% of your body weight through your spine. Add weights to that, which you should. You should be able to handle that load, especially as you're young. You're going to need that, one. And two, I mean, if you like to work out or do sports, you're going to need to improve that tolerance. So you can always grab some weights later on, but first remember that doing it even without weights is increasing the load little by little through your spine, and you want to improve that tolerance over a progressive period. So I'm going to stop talking. We're going to jump in. This is not scripted and planned. I'm literally just taking you through my workout at 6 o'clock in the morning. This is how we show up. So this is, I work 10 hours today, and I'm showing up early in the morning for my back, and I'm only saying that as motivation for you to make the time for your body. So we'll get right into it. We're going to start with a wide leg or a sumo squat. So toes are going to point out to the sides about 45 degrees. Knees go out. We're going to slowly squat down. I take my first rep always slow because I want to notice what's going on in my body. Equal weight both sides, more weight in the heels than the toes. And then I'm going to start to squeeze my core and my glutes even more so than I already was. I'm going to push my hands down as I push down with my legs and come up. And then I'm just going to do that 10 times. 5, 10. Okay. Then I'm going to find that again, but this is called a goblet squat. Usually you would hold the weight here, but you're coming down a little bit lower. That being said, come down as far as feels good for your body. So if your knees are letting you know that you've reached your limit, listen to those knees. So I'm going to start to come down. I'm going to keep my chest up, so I'll turn sideways. My back is nice and flat, and then you're going to push to come up. So I suggest that you watch your spine in a mirror. As soon as you start to see your spine take shape, that's also an indicator that that's where you need to stop. So this one just coming a little bit lower than our sumo squat, as if we were going to pick something up from the floor. Squatting down, push down with the hands and we stand up. Core and glutes engaged. I think we got about another 5, 4, 2 more, last one. Good, and then we split the stance. So right leg forward, left leg back. Both hands on the iliac crest or your hip bones. You shouldn't be dumping forward like my gymnastics body has a tendency to do. So bottom tucks under, you're stacking hips, ribs, and shoulders. Back heel is lifted into the air. Equal weight front and back foot. And then not the front knee, but both knees are going to bend down with the chest up as if there was a wall in front of you. Pause down here and check in. And then push to stand up. Whew. Lower down. And then going 10 here. Squeezing the glute at the top. Squeezing your quad to straighten your back knee. Your quad is the muscle on the front of the thigh as opposed to your hamstring. 3, 2, 1, and then switch it out. Right leg goes back, heel up, hips forward. Engage the core, hands to chest. We're going to slowly drop it down and then check in. So same position, new side. Notice how this sits a little differently to the other side. If you're wobbling all over the place, put your hand on a wall. It's not worth sacrificing your form. And then we're going to push back up, finding that 10 times. 5, halfway. 3, 2, 1. Also important to note, it's not really necessary to bang your knee on the ground. If you like the tactile feedback, you can roll up a blanket, stuff it underneath that back knee, so when your knee comes down, you'll have a tactile cue. Next, we're going into our front squat. I'll turn sideways so you can check this out. Whew. So if you're at home, that lovely PVC pipe reminded me, you may need to go ahead and pause the, whatever it is we're doing right now, the video. Clearly, it's 6 in the morning. Grab a step or something you can step onto. Grab something you can put underneath your heels. It could be a slant board like this, or it could be dumbbell weights. You could roll up a pillow. And then you'll need a broom or a PVC pipe. So the reason for this, usually you would stand this way and stretch your calves. That's also great, especially if you're having neural tension on the back of the legs. But I've been raising my heels up for the reason that it helps me keep my back up straighter. As soon as you start to bend forward, you have greater load through your spine. So keeping your back as if it was up against a board, you're gonna drop down. I've been working really hard to check in and make sure my ribs aren't flaring out because that's what my body naturally wants to do. Again, I have more weight into my heels than my toes. I'm trying to keep my chest up as if there was a wall in front of me, and then back up. And then you're just gonna find that 10 times. 2, 3, 4, more from the heels, 5, core in, 6, 8, 9, 10. Now I'm not saying leaning forward in a squat is a bad thing. It actually targets your glutes more. This targets your quads more. So quads versus glutes. But right now leaning forward is just too much compressive load through my spine, and I know it's not ready to handle it. So if I were to lean forward, especially with weights and like a deadlift or an RDL type style, it might be too much compressive loading. So what I encourage you is not to write that kind of stuff off for forever, but to start here. So I'm going to show you what that looks like if I was to do the same front squat facing this way. My body naturally wants to start leaning forward and come down versus my chest staying upright. If I was to keep my chest upright, really, honestly, you may have more degrees than me, but this is all I have because my ankles are really tight into this motion. So I lift the heels and I create better form. Next, we're going into just some calf raises. So feet spread wide, we're going up for 20. And at the top of each one, I'm really squeezing my glutes, really squeezing my core. And I always tell people, honestly, the count doesn't necessarily matter as long as you're sufficiently tired at the end. So I estimate out about 10. I've worked my way up with time to 20 in a row, doing that 3 times a week. So giving myself a day of rest in between. Check in at the end of the week because how you felt after it at the end of the week probably won't be how you felt at the beginning. So we're gonna call it there. I'm feeling pretty tired. And we're gonna go to step ups. So step ups are great because you can actually get more loading through your glutes and your quads without holding any weight. So you're keeping the same, well, maybe not exactly the same, but you're keeping minimal forces through the spine itself. So you're not overloading too much in the beginning and taking steps back after you just took steps forward. So go ahead and put one foot onto the step. You wanna make sure your knee's not over your toe. And then you're gonna gently lift off of the ground. I use the wall over here on my side because I'm not necessarily trying to make this a balance exercise. I'm trying to support my spine and I'm really bringing my mental awareness into my leg. So I'm focusing on how much squeeze I can get in my glutes, how much push I can get from my heel. I'm trying to literally drive my head straight up and towards the ceiling. And you can use any size of step. It doesn't have to be as high as mine. It can be even higher than mine. My legs are short, so literally every step is not the same to every person. And then you're gonna find it to the other side. So try not to push off that back leg. Shifting forward, rising up. 2. We're going to 10, 3, 2, got 2 more squats. Shake it out, take a break. It's not worth sacrificing your form. And then what you're gonna do is put your back leg up onto a ledge. So getting your balance here, squeezing the core, hips face forward, shoulders forward, dropping down, check in. Knee in line with shoulder, knee in line with shoulder, arms to chest, nice slow push back up. And be okay with messing up. Like really go slow so you can listen to your body. So you're looking for those movements that your body's maybe like, nope, that's not what I'm looking for today. And the hardest part for my athlete brain is in listening. And then you switch it out. Other leg goes back. That'll definitely happen. Hips forward, shoulders forward. Big smile for 6 a.m. Coming down and holding. And then we pump it out for 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, halfway. 2, 1. Final squat. This is where you'll need your broom or your PVC pipe. This is probably the squat that I advise taking the slowest and the squat that my body has naturally told me is gonna be the slowest. So we're putting this PVC pipe behind our back. You can use this for all your squats, but we're getting into an RDL. So PVC pipe should touch your head, your shoulder blades, and your tailbone. Should have a little space here for your lumbar curve or your low back curve. That's natural and good. So go ahead and put that in your head. This is called a neutral spine. It's not necessarily a perfect straight spine. It's just neutral. Normal lumbar curve, normal thoracic curve, and normal cervical curve. You can notice you have that same pocket at your cervical spine. Clearly love to nerd out about that. So, little bend in the knees, not a lot, you're not squatting, you're just bending a little. And then we're just gonna hinge forward. As I hinge forward, gravity is now coming down onto my back, which is kind of positioned like a table. That's a lot of loading through the discs in my spine. Having to support my belly up, support my chest up with my back. Squeezing my glutes, I'm gonna drive to stand back up. So flowing through that a few times on your own. Make it the same speed down and the same speed up. Engaging the core. And again, if you're used to working out in the gym and you're just coming back from a back injury, it's easy to want to add weight to this movement. Trust me, I'm there. But looking at the biomechanics and the compressive loading through the spine, you're probably not ready unless you've given it at least a week of doing 20 or more of these in a row. And you're not getting any symptoms, especially down the leg. It's probably not ready. So let's say you're having a hard time with that. You can always take it to a seated position. I had a hard time coming back with this, not because of the movement mechanics, but because of the loading through my back. My back was slow to handle that. You know how I'm doing it. So from here, you could flatten forward and then back up. So there's a couple of less joints involved. You're mainly just focusing on what's happening at the teeter-totter at your hips as you hinge forward and then as you come back up. Once you have the mechanics there, then you can bring it up into a stand. So if that checks out with you, your body's saying, okay, I can get down with that. I suggest that you try doing that 3 days a week, giving yourself a rest day in between. And taking time to check in with your physical body, your mental body, and your emotional body before you start. Stop, take a moment. What feels tight? What feels strong? Okay, maybe I need to adjust my workout to address that. Okay, how am I feeling? I'm feeling really tired and stressed out. Creating a lot of stress and inflammation in your body with muscle breakdown, trying to get muscle hypertrophy or gains is not going to be helpful for you. You're fighting an infection, you're stressed out. Sometimes it is. But you gotta first check in or you don't know. I don't know. So that's a quick and dirty closed kinetic chain squat routine with step ups. Again, I advise you to check that out if you're interested in the biomechanics and the loading forces of a step up versus a squat. Listen to your body, move small. If moving small and slow doesn't fit for you and it still hurts, give it a break. All right, that's it.